Have you ever wondered how far human endurance can go? Picture this, you're alone, adrift at sea for 76 days with sharks circling. Impossible? Not for Stephen Callahan. Our story begins with Stephen, an experienced sailor, embarking on a transatlantic journey. But his voyage takes a disastrous turn when a rogue wave damages his small boat, forcing him to abandon ship. Left with only a life raft and a few supplies, he finds himself alone and adrift in the vast ocean, the horizon offering no sign of land in sight. For the next 76 days, Stephen battles the elements, hunger, thirst, and the ever-present threat of sharks. His survival kit, though minimal, becomes his lifeline. He ingeniously devises ways to collect precious drinking water using a solar still, catching rainwater when the skies permit. Food becomes a pressing concern. With no fishing gear, Stephen fashions hooks from safety pins, luring fish with bits of cloth. He learns to catch dorado, a type of mahi-mahi, and even manages to fend off sharks that come too close to his catch. Yet survival isn't just about food and water, it's also a mental game. The solitude, the vastness of the ocean, the circling sharks all threaten to break Stephen's spirit, but he remains determined. He keeps a log, charting his course by the stars, hoping against hope that he is drifting towards land. Despite the odds, Stephen perseveres, his will to survive stronger than the challenges he faces. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, until one day, a speck of land appears on the horizon. 76 days after his ordeal began, Stephen is finally rescued, a testament to the strength of human will and the extraordinary resilience of the spirit. Against all odds, Callahan was rescued, proving the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. Scene script. How long can you hold your breath underwater? Now imagine being trapped underwater for 3 days. Meet Harrison O'Keene. Imagine the terror of waking up to a sinking ship, the cold embrace of the ocean swallowing you whole. This was the reality for Harrison O'Keene, a Nigerian cook aboard the tugboat Jascon 4. One fateful day in May of 2013, the vessel capsized and sank to the seafloor. O'Keene found himself trapped in a small pocket of air in the pitch-black bowels of the sunken ship, 70 feet beneath the surface. In the eerie silence, O'Keene was alone with his thoughts, the icy cold, and the constant gnawing fear of the unknown. His only companions were the occasional, terrifying sounds of the ship creaking and the faint, ominous echoes of marine life outside. The situation seemed hopeless. The air pocket was shrinking, the oxygen was running out, and help was unlikely to come. But O'Keene refused to give in to despair. He fashioned a platform from a mattress to keep his body out of the freezing water. He sipped Coca-Cola for hydration and survived on a single can of soda for 3 days. Meanwhile, a dive team was conducting recovery operations expecting to retrieve only bodies. Imagine their surprise when they discovered O'Keene alive and conscious in the sunken ship. The divers were astounded. For them, it was nothing short of a miracle. They quickly initiated a complex and risky decompression process to bring O'Keene back to the surface safely. After 60 hours, O'Keene emerged from the depths, a beacon of resilience and survival in the face of unimaginable adversity. His story is a stark reminder of the extremes of human endurance and the thin line between life and death. O'Keene's survival is a testament to human willpower and the fight for life even in the most hopeless situations. His extraordinary tale continues to inspire and astound people around the globe, a shining example of the indomitable human spirit. Picture falling 10,000 feet from an airplane and surviving. Julian Kupka did just that and then spent 11 days in the Amazon rainforest. In the early hours of Christmas Eve in 1971, Lanza Flight 508, carrying Julianne and her mother, was struck by lightning. The plane disintegrated mid-air, and Julianne, still strapped to her seat, began a free fall from over 2 miles high. Miraculously, she survived the fall, only to find herself alone in the unforgiving Amazon rainforest. With a broken collarbone, a gash on her arm, and one eye swollen shut, she was far from unscathed, but alive. Julianne, who had spent a year and a half with her parents at their research station in the rainforest, was not entirely out of her element. She knew she had to find water and protect herself from the elements and predators. For 10 grueling days, she trekked through the dense forest, following a small stream that gradually grew into a larger river. She endured insect bites, sunburn, and hunger. She had only a bag of candy to sustain her, so she rationed it carefully. On the 11th day, she stumbled upon a boat. Knowing it was a sign of nearby human habitation, she waited there, hoping for rescue. Eventually, local lumbermen discovered her and brought her to safety. Julianne's ordeal was not only a testament to her survival instincts and knowledge, but also a testament to the human spirit. Her story is a stark reminder of our innate will to survive, even in the most desperate of circumstances. In the face of insurmountable odds, she relied on her courage, resourcefulness, and sheer determination to keep going. Julianne's story is not just about survival, it's about resilience, the power of hope, and the indomitable human spirit. Kepke's ordeal showcases the strength of human resilience and the will to survive against all odds. Submarine disasters often have no survivors, but in 1939, in what is considered the greatest submarine rescue ever, 33 men were saved from the sunken USS Squalus. Imagine this, it's May 23, 1939. The USS Squalus, a state-of-the-art submarine, is on a test dive off the coast of New Hampshire. Suddenly, a mechanical failure floods the aft torpedo room. The submarine sinks, coming to rest 240 feet below the surface. Trapped inside the steel beast are 59 men. The Squalus was equipped with a telephone buoy. When the buoy surfaced, a ship nearby picked up the distress signal and alerted the submarine rescue ship, USS Falcon. Can you imagine the tension, the fear, the hope as the men aboard the Squalus waited for rescue? Time was ticking, and with it, their supply of oxygen. Enter Charles Swede Mommsen, a U.S. Navy officer who had been working on submarine rescue technology. He had invented the Mommsen lung, a device that recycles exhaled air, and a diving bell, a specially designed chamber lowered from a ship to a submarine to rescue trapped sailors. This would be the first time his diving bell would be put to the test in a real-life rescue. The Falcon arrived at the scene the following day, and the rescue operation began. The diving bell was lowered to the submarine, attaching to a hatch. Then, it rose back to the surface with the first batch of survivors. This process was repeated over and over until, against all odds, 33 men were brought to the surface alive. Unfortunately, 26 men had perished in the initial flooding, but the rescue of the 33 survivors was an unprecedented achievement in naval history. Mommsen's inventions had proven their worth, and the USS Squalus was later salvaged and recommissioned as the USS Sailfish, going on to serve in World War II. The USS Squalus rescue remains a symbol of successful teamwork and the incredible strength of the human spirit. Space, the final frontier. But what happens when it becomes a trap? This was the reality for 3 astronauts aboard the Apollo 13. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, a tiny spacecraft was sailing, carrying 3 brave explorers, James Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes. It was April 1970, and the Apollo 13 mission was well underway. Their destination? The moon. But fate had a different plan. Just over 2 days into their journey, an oxygen tank exploded. The spacecraft was crippled, and the moon landing was abruptly canceled. The command module, their only ride home, was rapidly losing life-sustaining resources. The stakes were high. It was life or death, survival against all odds in the unforgiving vacuum of space. The crew had to think on their feet, or rather in zero gravity. They moved into the lunar module, a craft intended to land 2 of them on the moon and return them to the command module in lunar orbit. The lunar module became a lifeboat in space, but it was designed to support 2 men for 2 days, not 3 men for 4 days. They had to ration resources, drastically cutting down on water consumption and power usage. Back on Earth, the situation was no less tense. The best minds at NASA were racing against the clock, devising a plan to bring the astronauts home safely. Round-the-clock efforts, rapid calculations, and improvised solutions. The mission control was buzzing with activity. Finally, the day of re-entry came. The crew had to manually adjust their course, a critical maneuver that, if miscalculated, could send them hurtling into space or crashing into Earth. With bated breath, the world watched as the 3 astronauts made their perilous journey back. And against all odds, they splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean. The Apollo 13 mission is a testament to human ingenuity and the will to survive even in the most hostile environments.